Greetings, my name is Veronika Vermeva. Russia retaliated for its destroyed aviation with a massive strike on civilians, while Ukraine once again hit 3 airfields. Russia's losses are staggering. Helicopters and an Iskander missile depot have been destroyed. Trump is once again threatening Ukraine and having a heated argument with Elon Musk. Meanwhile, Ukrainian special services are preparing a new powerful special operation and aim to sink the Russian fleet. Another terrifying night. Last night, the Russians struck almost all across Ukraine. Kyiv came under attack. Apartment buildings were damaged.
Where? There? Those are already wires from the shifter.
Also, 3 rescuers who responded to the call were killed in the capital. Dozens were injured. And these are simply chilling scenes from Lutsk. 4 Russian missiles struck the city one after another. One of the strikes hit a hotel where the Ukrainian national track and field team was staying for a competition.
Hey, hit your room over there. Share it with them quickly.
In the city, dozens have been injured and there are fatalities.
Respiratory system recruitment, a process.
But the Russian terror did not end during the night. These are already the scenes of the morning strike on Ternopil. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
That was a big hit. Strikes on infrastructure have been recorded, and the city is experiencing power outages. The gas truck burned down, damn it.
Explosions were also heard in Chernihiv, Khmelnytsky and Lviv regions. There are dozens of destroyed sites there. President Zelensky commented on the Russian strike on Ukraine.
A little. I feel like sleeping, right? A little bit, but they won't wait us out. They are waging war against cities and against life itself. And everywhere the Russian army has entered on Ukrainian territory. Everywhere, unfortunately, where there is Russian occupation, there is no normal life.
In total, Russia launched 407 drones and 44 missiles at Ukraine last night. Our air defense forces managed to neutralize 406 aerial threats. But in order to reduce the number of such attacks, the armed forces of Ukraine carried out a preemptive strike last night. This was announced by the General Staff. So the night was not quiet for the aggressors themselves either. A powerful fireworks show took place at night in Bryansk after a drone attack. And it was quite effective since Iskander ballistic missiles detonated. The very same missiles that Russia often uses to shell Ukraine. By the way, the explosions went on for several hours. I can only imagine the scale of the destruction. The precision and skill of the strike were at a very high level. Drones also struck an oil depot in Engels in Russia's Saratov region. We're talking about Krystal Rosreserv, which supplies fuel to the Engels 2 military airfield. It is known that the strategic aviation of the Russian Federation is based there, which regularly attacks Ukraine. As a result of strikes on the airfield in the village of Zhovtneve, a Mi-8 combat helicopter was completely destroyed by fire. Its ammunition detonated. A Mi-35 helicopter, the airport administration building and the rescue service building were also partially damaged. Good drones also paid a visit to a factory in Michirinsk, Tambov region. The enterprise is considered a leading manufacturer of missile and aviation equipment. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz was unable to convince Trump that the American president should support Europe in pressuring Moscow to halt attacks on Ukraine and end the war.
To this, Trump replied, "Maybe they need to fight a little longer." This was yet another retreat by Trump from the bloody war he had previously confidently promised to end.
The only issue to which Trump gave a more positive response was whether he supports new financial sanctions against Russia, and when exactly. Trump said that he has a deadline in mind when he could consider such a decision. But regarding Ukraine, Trump stated, "Brace yourselves," suggested that Ukraine, which has become a victim of Russian aggression, could face financial punishment.
We will be very, very, very tough. And this could affect both countries, to be honest. You know, it takes two to tango, Trump said.
In addition, as reported by the American press, Trump is furious with both presidents involved in the war, but even more so with Ukraine's president, Zelensky. Trump told his advisors that Zelensky is a bad guy who is bringing the world to the brink of nuclear war. But Trump also told his aides that it is completely understandable that Zelensky is fighting back, since he is waging a war against an enemy that intends to keep bombing Ukrainian cities. Also, at the meeting with Merz, Trump compared the war between Ukraine and Russia to two little children fighting. I don't know about you, but we definitely didn't expect that. Elon Musk is attacking Donald Trump. And no, this isn't just a sensational headline, it's reality. Just a week ago, Musk left his job in the Trump administration. He was given a nice farewell. Trump even gave him a key to the White House as a gift.
Speaker, a very special that I give to truly very special people.
And Musk himself thanked him and said he hoped to remain friends with the president.
Elon Musk, I look forward to continuing to be a friend and advisor to the president.
I don't know what got into Musk after that, but first he criticized Trump's budget bill, and not just once.
Elon Musk, sorry, but I just can't tolerate this anymore. This huge, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination, and shame on those who voted for it. You know you did the wrong thing. You know it.
Trump was angry and disappointed, but he dismissed Musk's criticism as billionaire ego.
Elon Musk, I am very disappointed in Elon.
But yesterday, that ego went even further. In response to Trump's criticism, Musk stated that if it weren't for him, Trump would never have become president. And then things really took off. Musk even started conducting polls about creating a new party. It even got to the point where Musk supported the idea of impeaching Trump.
Elon Musk, Trump should be impeached and his place should be taken by J.D. Vance. Musk replied, yes.
Trump is a proud man, so he didn't stay silent and started posting messages himself. For example, he calls Musk crazy and then even goes so far as to suggest limiting government subsidies and contracts for Musk's companies, including SpaceX, which collaborates with NASA.
Elon Musk? Elon was getting exhausted. I asked him to leave. I cancelled his electric vehicle mandate, which forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted. He knew for months that I was going to do it, and he just went crazy.
Later, Musk responds to this with a more serious decision, given that SpaceX begins decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft. And then, Musk dropped a real information bomb. According to Musk, the President of the United States is mentioned in the Epstein files, the very ones about child sex trafficking.
Elon. Musk, time to drop a truly big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason why they aren't being released.
Then there was mention of support for impeachment, and after that, a response to Musk. Former White House strategist Steve Bannon called billionaire Elon an illegal immigrant and urged that he be deported from the United States. Amid the loud quarrel, the stocks of both Musk's and Trump's companies began to fall. And this is the same Trump who compared the war between Ukraine and Russia to a children's fight, so where is the real kindergarten now? In Ukraine, people are already joking that Zelensky has promised to make peace between Trump and Musk in 24 hours, hinting at Trump's own promises to end the war in the same time frame. Oh, and one more thing, Mr. Trump is selling the Tesla that Musk gave him as a gift. For how much? But that's not the end of it. Ukrainian special services are preparing for other complex operations similar to Webb. This is reported by the Washington Post, citing its intelligence sources.
Man, the front line inside Ukraine will remain a hellish landscape of drones and artillery. But covert operations could escalate into a dirty war beyond the front, with more targeted assassinations, sabotage and strikes on countries supplying weapons to Ukraine and Russia respectively.
Narrator. In the same article, journalists also write that Ukraine is preparing attacks on Russian ships in the Pacific Ocean.
Man, sources reported that the security service of Ukraine SBU considered the possibility of sending maritime drones hidden in cargo containers to attack ships belonging to Russia and its allies in the northern part of the Pacific Ocean. But so far, they have apparently not yet begun these operations.
Narrator. And it is precisely this willingness of Ukraine to launch risky espionage operations, as the publication writes, that has led to ongoing tensions between Washington and Kyiv.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
After almost daily Russian shelling of Ukraine, sleepless nights, losses and destruction, Ukrainians continue to demonstrate tremendous strength of spirit and courage despite everything. According to recent polls, 60% of Ukrainians are ready to endure the war for as long as necessary. At the same time, 20% of respondents are prepared to hold out for a shorter period, a few months or half a year. Another 6% are willing to endure for 1 year, which is a relatively long period. So, I will state, using words that the whole world probably already knows, be brave like Ukraine. NATO is preparing for a major war. This is reported by the DPA publication. Currently, the alliance has in a historic move approved the largest arms build-up since the Cold War.
Man, the priorities are long-range weapon systems, air defense and mobile ground forces.
Announcer. The rearmament program takes into account intelligence assessments that Russia could be ready to attack NATO countries in just a few years. This military build-up is especially interesting in light of Rutte's recent statement that Russia produces as many munitions in 3 months as NATO does in a year. And that's despite NATO having an economy 25 times stronger. In addition, Britain is also rearming. The country is investing $2.7 billion in drones, taking into account the experience of the war in Ukraine. The priority is on strike kamikaze drones, reusable UAVs, and the creation of a drone coordination center. And this comes against the backdrop of a statement made in mid-May in the US, where it was announced that America and its European NATO allies will begin negotiations by the end of this year on reducing the American military presence in Europe. They're crawling in like cockroaches. The enemy continues its offensive in the Sumy region. 10 settlements in the border area of Sumy region are already under the control of the Russian occupiers. And according to the spokesperson for the border service, Andriy Demchenko, Russia continues to expand its foothold.
Andriy Demchenko, in the Sumy direction, the enemy is not using heavy equipment. In fact, in such a small operational area, if you compare it to the entire length of the border with Russia within Sumy region, they are trying to use only small infantry groups or small assault groups, which are attempting to enter our territory in order to further expand the combat zone within our country. And unfortunately, we see that the enemy is indeed expanding this kind of foothold. And despite the fact that the enemy suffers heavy losses, dozens killed and wounded every day, they pay no attention to their losses, no attention to their own soldiers, whom they continue to send to our border in an attempt to shift the zone of fighting onto the territory of our country.
Announcer. In turn, deep state platform analyst Roman Pohorily confirms the Russians' tactics and says that the occupiers' goal is to penetrate deeper into the Sumy region.
Roman Pohorily, by relying on a large number of infantry, they have a numerical advantage over us in this regard. They are carrying out constant assault actions, quite literally. Our guys don't have time to strike them, even though they're trying to use both FPV drones, artillery, and other means of attack. But they keep coming like cockroaches. We've mentioned this on our channel, and that's why the situation is what it is. They are making advances. Their goal is to penetrate deeper into the territory.
Announcer. But the Russians' objective is not new and has long been known to our military.
Viktor Hlushchenko, there are no surprises here. So the military knows what to do and are doing everything they can. Honestly. I mean, for the Russians, this has always been their story. I'm telling you this honestly. Which direction will they choose as the main one? This was over a year ago when we started focusing on the Kursk direction. We believe that in any case, they would start specifically with Sumy. But we also understood that the East, Zaporizhzhia and Kharkiv were possibilities, right? Yes, but in the end, everything still came back to Sumy. So this was their idea. It's not a new operation. It's just another wave of the offensive. They will go through with it. And there, in Sumy, they have not achieved any success. Believe me, what is happening there, unfortunately, is a gray zone. Some villages, as you know, have been destroyed. Well, it's not like they did it all in one day. Yes, it's quite a lengthy process. They're working on it. The Russians are working on it. The Ukrainian forces are aware of this and are fighting against it. They would have advanced in a faster wave and wanted to, because this is their operation.
Narrator, the defense forces are also aware that the enemy tried to advance in the region from 3 directions.
Narrator, Russian forces appear to be stepping up efforts to expand the front line in the northern part of Sumy region along 3 axes of advance to the north and northeast of the city of Sumy.
Narrator female. However, according to military expert Roman Sviton, Sumy region is far from the only target for the Russians and certainly not the main one. The occupiers are pushing, but they don't have enough forces. More precisely, they don't want to throw everything at Sumy region because even if it's not in 3 days, they still want Kyiv.
Roman Sviton. The number of forces and resources that the Russians currently have in this direction is not enough to break through, let's say, our existing DR defense. If their objective is still to push further, again, not towards Sumy, I would say this direction is more towards Pryluki. The general direction towards Kyiv, strategically speaking, yes, is Pryluki, Novobasan, and Brovary Kyiv. But in reality, they're stuck in a small area, about 10 kilometers or so, no more than that, trying somehow to move forward, to slip through to the southeast of Sumy.
Announcer, the Office of the President also confirms Russia's intentions to reach Kyiv. Deputy head of the Office of the President, Pavlo Palisa, says that in 2026 the Kremlin plans to occupy all of Ukraine east of the Dnipro, as well as parts of the Odessa and Mykolaiv regions.
Announcer, Vladimir Putin seeks to occupy all of Ukraine east of the Dnipro River, which divides the country in half. Russia also hopes to seize the southern Ukrainian regions of Odessa and Mykolaiv. He said that this would cut Ukraine off from the Black Sea, a vital channel for exporting Ukrainian grain.
Announcer female. Meanwhile, our soldiers are bravely holding the line and continue to fight against the occupiers. Here, for example, are fresh footage of the Ukrainian Air Force in action, striking the positions of Russian troops in Russia's Tyotkino, near the border with the Sumy region. A kind of buffer zone against the horde. Support the armed forces of Ukraine because they are doing the incredible. Announcer. They wanted the best, but it turned out as usual. In Russia, in their attempts to conceal their military or simply important defense facilities, they ended up revealing information about their locations.
Marina Buryachka. I don't know, maybe someone finds this funny. I don't find it funny at all.
Announcer. So, after the spectacular destruction of Russian airfields, the Kremlin ordered that what remains be protected from future attacks. Apparently, this order also reached the Russian internet. The main Russian search engine, Yandex, blurred out those very same critically important sites on its maps, which only drew the attention of everyone who saw those maps. In a word, brilliant.
Dmytro Bulgakov. Well, what can you say about that?
Announcer. I have just one question, though. People in Russia really believe that the Security Service of Ukraine or the main intelligence directorate are searching for the locations of important Russian sites using Yandex maps? Announcer, do you remember how, in the Polish Sejm, a pro-Russian deputy was told to go to Moscow?
Agnieszka Charitas. Got it, Mr. Deputy. To Moscow, to Moscow, to Moscow.
Announcer, so history repeats itself, but this time in Latvia. There, Deputy Alexei Roslikov claimed that since there are more Russian speakers in the country, there is no point in discussing the draft declaration on the crime of Russification of Latvia by the Soviet occupation regime and the prevention of its linguistic consequences.
We more! Russian is our language!
Narrator, I don't think you'll be surprised if I tell you that this deputy is from a centrist Eurosceptic party. But his support for Russian didn't stop there, because the deputy also made a very telling gesture.
Here, yes, oh!
Narrator, a typical Russian, what else can you say? For such behavior, Roslikov was expelled from the meeting hall. 63 out of 100 deputies supported the decision. According to Latvian media, Roslikov could face even harsher punishment. Please like this video to support what we do and be sure to subscribe to the Ukraine Today channel so you don't miss future episodes.